Okay. So this sounds fantastic, but tell
Yeah,
me the
look, there
but. What are we going to be cautious about? What don't we know that we need to know?
we see 5% all over the media. And if you do a chat GPT search, it's going to tell you about you only need a 5% deposit. But if you'd like to buy for $1 million, you need your 5% deposit so that you can borrow the 950,000. But there's stamp duty on $1 million property. So once we start playing in these larger property spaces, there's no stamp duty exemptions. So really the 5% means 10%. So that's probably my first sort of caveat
We're
to
getting a
that.
lot of people in going, look, I got my 5%. You got to say pause. It's got to be closer to 10. That's the
Yeah,
first.
10%, 150 grand on a $1.5 million property is still a decent sized deposit that someone needs to have saved. So that's probably the most obvious point
Yeah.
that needs mentioning. The second one is if you plan to move out of the property. So unlike the other schemes where as long as you live in it for 12 months, it doesn't matter if you get the stamp duty waiver and you can turn it into an investment property. And I've seen many people do that over the years, but this scheme, if you move out and the loan is still over 80%,
Yeah.
so if this is now an investment property, you're no
Yeah.
longer eligible for our guarantee. And the onus is on you to notify the banks to tell them to turn the loan into an investment property loan.
Okay, so if you turn into investment property, you potentially get hit with the lender's mortgage insurance.
Yeah.
All right, any other things that we need to know that we don't know?
Look, Mike, I think we're probably on the same page that when someone likes to buy their first home, it's always recommended that they keep money aside for a rainy
Yeah.
day. The scheme is quite strict on how much extra cash you can keep aside. They want to ensure that people that perhaps only needed an 80% loan aren't using the scheme and taking this government guarantee unnecessarily. So the banks can be quite strict on making sure you don't leave too much cash aside and that it all goes in.
And want to get rid of your cash buffer. Okay,
Yeah, look,
great.
there is some rules around perhaps 20 to 30 grand is an acceptable level of cash. A lot of our clients will have an element of shares that they need to liquidate as
Yeah.
well as cash. And under the scheme, they don't force people to sell their shares.
Yeah.
So my advice on that is don't go and sell your shares before you talk to your mortgage broker. Hold on to your shares and then work out what the numbers look like. And then potentially you can keep some shares aside for your rainy day funds.
For your cash buffer. The thing I've noticed with all the clients, so they've been coming to me going, let's see what 95% looks like. It's interesting to do the numbers on
Yeah.
that being an extra 90K in mortgage repayments. And you go, that's great, but how do I actually afford that? I can get it, but how do I afford that?
And look, that's the elephant in the room. It's all very well to make the deposit amount go down so that people can
Yeah.
access the market, but it doesn't
Yeah.
remove the whole affordability issue that we have.
Yeah.
And having equity and a cash contribution towards a purchase is great because it brings down the mortgage and it makes it far more affordable.